Love it. Thank you so much.
1000%.
All right, we're going to California. The amazing Kimberly Arnold.
Hello, David. Do you see me?
Now I do. Yes. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Great to
Hi.
meet you. I love everything that you've said. I'm only 2.5 years into my solopreneur journey after, 30 plus years in corporate roles. And what your comment about focusing on outcome absolutely resonates for me. And I'll say I've been in my own dance around this because what I'm bringing to the world is enabling leaders and teams to expand their performance capacity under pressure.
Okay.
And what I teach them is a simple approach to elevate their effectiveness, judgment, collaboration in high stakes moments.
Okay.
And the challenge that I had is when I started, because what I'm doing is giving them simple body-based practices. I call them resilient resets. That's my, sort of naming of it. It's deceptively simple, but wildly effective. And so I have this sense that sometimes it kind of like gets dismissed, like people go, oh yeah, we do that. And I know that what they're doing isn't that. And so I'm kind of curious in that differentiation piece, because how I started, honestly, was I started dropping a sample practice every Monday. I did that for over 100 weeks and a video. And those initially were like, oh my God, there's a video, there's this thing. Well, of course, now there's a bazillion videos. So I'm just kind of curious about how to navigate. I get that a part of my method is different, but how to differentiate. I don't know if I have to differentiate the outcome or like how. Does this make sense? What I'm
answering? It does. So yeah, it does, and I'll try and unpack this for you concisely. The basic thing is this: if we all look back to our schooling and training, especially if any of us went for design or marketing or this or that or a particular specialization, what was the thing we were taught? Perfect your portfolio, perfect the thing you're going to show, so that you can go out there and you can show your wares and then have people. We're taught so ass backwards. It is the stupidest freaking thing. It's like, because who's talking about their shit? Newbies just out of school. Are those of us who have been actually entrepreneurs for 10, 20, 30, 40 or whatever years? No, we're not talking about that. So we're talking about the shit that's a pain in the ass. We're talking about the stuff that are the pain points. It's like, are you sick and tired of blah, 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 blah? Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know about you, man, but I don't have time or patience for that kind of crap. And I will tell you, from being in all types of rooms, from like the insanely wealthy to, various starters or mid-career or mid-tier players, the thing that's going to be most real to them is the frustration that they're actually encountering, right? Okay. It's like, how come we can't do blah? Right. We do blah. How come we're only attracting B players and not attracting A players? How come? It's like they've got frustrations. That's the conversation you need to tap into. It's like, are you sick and tired of the blah, 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 blah? Because the place that it's going to hang up, and it's the play. Any of us who have ever seen a committee in practice, where does a committee hang up and bottleneck? How? They'll usually agree on what we want, what we do. But you want to do it this way. We don't agree. Well, what do you want to do? And where do they bottleneck? They bottleneck on the mechanics, the how. So don't have that part of the, like the bottom line is, I'll be the first one, and I'll be a smart ass about it. Someone will say, well, how are you going to do it? I'm going to say, better than you. It's like, that's it. I'm not giving them any stupid meat, because they don't, let's be honest, they don't have the judgment to be able to say what you're doing is right or wrong or this, that, the other. Because if they did, they wouldn't be in that room having that discussion with you right now. Okay. So sometimes you have to point out the obvious. Sometimes you have to literally say, all right, here's the deal. We're in this room together. You've heard about what I do. I don't need to tell you about what I do, but obviously we're here for a reason that you consider important. Tell me what's on your mind. Mm-hmm. You're taking control of the conversation. You're framing it properly. And then as a result, it's like, now we're going to have what matters. Well, we've been struggling with blah, 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 or we're sick and tired of blah, 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 blah. These various things, right? That's the thing. That's the place. So I would be less focused I'll give you this as a little mini assignment that I think you'd find incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
I would look at, and I'll frame this way. I was speaking on Friday, and someone said, I said, so who's your competition? And they said, well, we hate to say this, but we don't have any competition. I said, oh, really?
Yeah.
I said, oh, really? I said, and why were they saying that? They were saying that because no one made exactly the kind of device that they were selling. I said, I get that. I said, let me rephrase the question. Here's the question. I said, you ready? And I said, the problem that you're solving, where are people now going to solve that problem when they're not going to you?
Right.
That's a $64,000 question. If you actually, yourself, start going, okay, where are people going to solve the problem that I actually helped people solve, and really look at those, then you'll have a much better way of framing what you're offering, because you'll know the shit that they're buying. You'll know the shit that they're saying. Well, I mean, why is it that people buy 5-hour energy at a gas station? It's utter shit. Everyone knows it's shit. But the name, freaking brilliant. Distribution, freaking brilliant. $3, bam, good, gone in 2 seconds. Amazing. My hat's off to the guy from the standpoint of marketing, distribution, and naming. Brilliant, but utter shit. But but he looked. He goes, what happens when people stop at convenience stations? Well, they show up with 2 tanks. One is the one that they're driving. The other one is the biological one. And they need to jack each of them above. They need to fill the tank for both of them. Right? So they fill up the tank, and then they go inside to get their coffee, to get their soft drink, to get the this, they get the that, And this guy was like, hey, right there at the checkout counter, $3. And I'm sure that Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all those companies have tried to buy. We'll give you $20 billion. Sorry, not for sale. I'm doing just fine. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
All right.